Meanwhile, Abia State Governor Alex Oti is calling for peace from the Julius Abure-led faction of the Labour Party following the recent Supreme Court ruling on the leadership of the party. This is coming on the heels of several interpretations being given to the verdict of the Apex Court on the party's leadership crisis. Governor Oti, who was speaking at his Mvosi country home while inaugurating the new leadership of Abia Arise organization, said the Labour Party is bigger than ever remember and deserves the responsibility of all to make things work.
The party was bigger and more important than any and every of us put together. And I knew that the triumph of evil over good is only for a moment. We somehow believed that justice would be done to the Labour Party. I was watching and I saw some people making some claims about them not being removed by the Supreme Court.
Well, joining us to discuss the intrigues playing out in the Labour Party is LP's Director General, Directorate of Mobilization and Integration, Marcel Ngogbehei. Marcel, glad to have you join me on Arise News on Newsnight. Now, Abia State Governor calls for peace from the Abure faction. How many factions are there, and what's your sense of Oti's appeal?
There's no faction in Labour Party. What we have is...
Oti said he's calling on Abure faction.
There is no faction. And I think we need to get this clear. I have this concept of a prudent man's law where there's a hypothetical person and what is expected in a reasonable person to behave, right? So the Supreme Court judgment did not remove Abure. And let us get it clear. There is a March convention. The convention is the highest decision-making organ of the party. In that convention, Alex Oti sent his deputy to chair it. All the party stakeholders agreed to that convention, and they all attended that convention, and leadership emerged from that convention. Okay. Now, going forward, if you do not like, or if something emerges and you are not happy with it, there is a process to go about. One, is there any constitutional breach? Did Labour Party breach its constitution on that convention? If that happened, then there's a way to redress that. Now, going to the Supreme Court to ask the Supreme Court who is the leader of Labour Party is like going to the Supreme Court to ask the Supreme Court who is the president of Nigeria. And I keep telling people, it's simple. Supreme Court has said leadership question is not for me or any of the courts, that it belongs to the party. And let us understand where this whole thing started. Immediately after the convention, that is when all the litigation started, right? And what Supreme Court has said, from when the litigation started, is not just justiciable. So what happens? Exactly. You go back to that convention, because that was where the leadership was elected. So, and one thing I found out surprising is, in all of this, nobody has challenged that convention. Because what I expected they would be doing is to go to the Supreme Court to challenge that convention, not the leadership.
Okay, maybe they will do now, since the Supreme Court handed down.
But it's beyond that. It's not justiciable at this point.
Now, just like you said, there are so many interpretations of the Supreme Court's judgment, many quarters. But one thing is clear, though, I did read, courts cannot interfere in party leadership decisions, fine and good. But then it averred that Abure's tenure is over.
That's not true. Court didn't say that. We got an audio message. I don't know whether you have it as flying around.
Okay.
The court never said that. And maybe we should all just also wait for the CTC
to come out.
In that audio message, I listened to it over and over again. Apart from the fact that the court said is not justiciable, courts cannot get involved, the court now went further to admonish, like an advice to say, parties should abide by their constitution. And that when a leader's tenure has expired, that the leader should, honorably leave, or they should conduct elections to bring in a new leader. There was no time the court said that Abure tenure is over. And let us hear clearly what the Supreme Court said, that parties should abide by their constitution. So let's move back. Who has the power within the party constitution to call NEC meeting, to call NWC meeting, or to call the convention? Is in the constitution who has the power? Is it Alex? No. It's not.
It should be the NWC, right? Or is it the NEC?
If it is a convention, the secretary through the chairman would convene that. NEC, the secretary through the chairman. So these are just obey your constitution. See, if we say we want to change the country, we shouldn't behave like the people we want to change. They should just take their constitution and obey it. And if you think there is anything in the constitution you don't like, there's a process to update that constitution. There's a process to change that constitution. We should just behave like a prudent man. People that are reasonable, respectable, and could bring themselves in such a way that people like us could see them as role model.
There is again talk. All these things are so, I don't know whether to use the word confusing. There's a talk that Abia government, that will be Oti the governor, is the one spearheading this trouble about Abure and what is happening. Give us the true picture.
Well, what I do not have clear facts on, I wouldn't say. But I know he has been visible in this whole thing. So I wouldn't say he's the one spearheading, at least. The Ngogbehei stakeholders meeting was at his instance. And I understand that the thinking is that, okay, there is no leadership. Being the most senior member of the party, he cannot call a meeting. There's nothing like that in the constitution of the party. And as at the time he did that, there is a leader in place. What was simply happening is that after the convention, INEC was refusing to issue the code for them to upload polling units for Ondo elections. And what the party went to court to seek is to tell the court to ask INEC to respect their own processes, to respect the party's processes. And INEC told the court that they were not properly informed about the convention. And the court said that based on the papers they have seen, that you were properly informed and notified. So the court mandated INEC to release that to the leadership of the party under Abure. That was it. So what now kicked out from there was the stakeholder trying to join in and start questioning who is the leader of the party. Whereas the question of the leadership of the party has been settled at the Nnewi convention. And I keep telling them, let's not beat around the bush. If you do not like anything about that Nnewi convention, that is what you should challenge. Because the Nnewi convention did not only produce Abure, it produced the entire party leadership structure.
Before I let you go, Marcel, what was this about NLC planning to attack LP's National Secretariat? Do you have any evidence? And why would the NLC in the first place want to do that?
Exactly. I've heard that as rumor, but I want to believe that, again, my concept of that the prudent man's, the NLC should just, live by example. We want to see people we can emulate. Going to attack a secretariat or a party looks thuggish to me. I wouldn't do that. If there is any problem, there's a process to addressing it. And I do not believe
it's just an allegation.
It's just an allegation. So I do not want to believe NLC would want to do that, honestly. But if they do that, then it's a total, disappointment for the kind of people we expect to be, a freedom fighter for the common masses.
And Marcel, with all this happening in Labour Party has definitely lost ground.
Well, that's not true. Now, I need you to understand something. The Labour Party has even re-strategized. They set up a directorate, which I heard. And that directorate is basically recruiting across the entire country. Recently, we inaugurated 36 state executives, 10 man each. And then each of those 36 state executives are going to go down to their local governments, to their wards and inaugurate all executives. These are mobilization, and our task is to mobilize and integrate people, and we are moving on with that. So with all these distractions, it doesn't affect us. But the only thing I'm just saying is that party leaders should just simply lead by example and respect the constitution of the party. I mean, if there's a constitution that binds us together, why would you want to just fling it away and take laws into your hands? Then every one of us could as well becomes an animal kingdom where everybody could just behave the way.
Why does your leader, Obi, stand in all this?
Obi has simply said he's still a member of Labour Party.
In relation to Abure, what's his relationship to Abure?
I think so far the relationship is cordial. I've not seen any situation where they have, like, there's an exchange. In all of these 10, I've not seen Obi said anything bad about Abure, and I've not heard Abure said anything bad about Obi. So far, so good. Both leaders had, respected themselves at that level.
Labour performed so well in the last election. By the way things have been going, both Labour, PDP, NPP, they look like a bunch of, confused people. They don't seem to be organized, and looks like they're just giving it to APC.
Okay, the only credible opposition you could see in the country now is Labour Party. Recently in Anambra,
with all this,
the crisis is inevitable in any organization. Think about it. Labour emerged from a party that is not known to national prominence. So you will expect that there will be struggle to capture the beautiful bride, and that is what we are going through now. But then the leadership of Labour Party at this point is not being distracted by those actions, and that's why we keep going. In Anambra recently, Labour Party was the first party in the country to start an internal engagement within its aspirants before they go to the Congress. Labour Party decide. It was one of the initiatives that came out, and you could see aspirants come to talk to the wards, the electorate, before they go to vote. It doesn't happen in any party. And what we're doing now is to try and make sure that the process of producing candidates for the party is very transparent, and let's produce the best candidate. Because I can now understand from my getting into this that the candidates that the masses end up voting for is produced by the party. So if the party produce candidates that are not good, the masses will be left to vote, from what set of candidates. So Labour Party has now reformed itself to say, we are going to ask you to come and talk to us before we finally go to Congress.
All right. LP's Director General, Directorate of Mobilization and Integration, Marcel Ngogbehei, thank you for being on Newsnight.
Thank you so much.